All right, everybody, if we could have you find your seats, that would be great. We're going to get this started. We have a long presentation here today for you. While you're sitting down, I'm going to go through some chamber stuff really quick. First, we want to thank our corporate sponsors. We have MG&E, Park Bank, TDS, Cardinal, and Group Health Cooperative. Thanks, Sean. I also want to thank our partner sponsors, of course, Fact TV, who is here today. This is recorded, so if you need to look back, you can find that on their YouTube channel, and then also Wyndham Garden for having us here today as well. We have some upcoming chamber events. We're very excited that we have Madison Breeding Project has officially moved to the city of Fitchburg, so we have their ribbon cutting on Tuesday, March 17th. So come out from noon to 1, and you can take a look at their new space. We also have another ribbon cutting. This has been long awaited, but the Benvenuto's space, the Fairway Lounge, is officially open. So you can go check that out. They will having their ribbon cutting next Thursday at 4 p.m. The bar will be open. They also have Salvatore's Pizza, so you can get some pizza if you'd like to. So we also have our next table talk on Wednesday, March 25th, and we are at Tapatio's again this month. This is the last month at Tapatio's, and then we'll be switching over to the Great Dane. So come to that. It is a limited amount of people, 2 people per industry, only 16 individuals, and it's a great way to make some connections with some people that you might meet here today. Our next Coffee Connect is at formerly The Hub, now Hastohochi, and we're excited to be there on April 16th. There was a little bit of a date change, so if you have already put it in your calendar, there's another major event that's happening that day that I did not notice, so that's my fault. So we moved it to April 16th from 8:30 to 9:30. Come grab some coffee and mix and mingle with a bunch of really great people in our community. Another ribbon cutting, lots of ribbon cuttings. This is really great to see in the city. So Great Clips actually opened up in Cahill. So please come and cheer them on April 16th at noon. And then our next after hours, because people always ask about that, will be at Yahara Bay, which is now officially going to be open for longer hours. So, and they are now taking events. So if you're interested in some event space, really cool event space, we'll be at Yahara Bay on April 23rd. And then the 25th annual Fitchburg Chamber Golf Outing is on June 22nd. We're back to a Monday again from 9:30 to approximately 6 p.m., depends on how fast you guys golf, at the Legend at Bergamot again. And registration is officially open. And all sponsorships and golf hole sponsorships and things like that are officially open as well. We have some new chamber partners. We have Forward Physical Therapy. Are they here? I didn't see them come in. Noble Night Games is a rejoin, so we're excited to have them back. Happy Healer, I didn't see him here. Anyone from Madison Sign Studios? Nope. Great Lakes Finishing Solutions, I did not see him. The Thrill Factory on the east side of Madison, really great space. Fairchild Development, and then Homestar Inspections. Thank you. All right, so today we have with us some alder and mayoral candidates for the upcoming election in April. So we have with us today, we have the mayor candidates, our incumbent. We have Mayor Julia Arata-Frada. We also have Victoria LaBrosse, as well as with District 3, Seat 6, we have Donald Danzler Jr., the incumbent. We also have Jay Allen. And then from District 4, Seat 8, we have Jake Leeper, the incumbent. And then Adam Guiley, unfortunately, was sick, so he could not be with us this morning. Unopposed, we do have from District 1, Seat 2, we have Joe Maldonado, and we also have District 2, Seat 4, Gabriela Gerhard. And now I'm gonna let them two come up and say a few words just to say hello to all of you. So Gabriela, if you would like to go first, and then we'll have Joe go.
Thanks so much, Brandon. Thanks for the Chamber for hosting this. This is great to have these conversations. I'm Gabriela Gerhart. I've been on the council for the last 6 years, and I'm really grateful to be coming up for another 2 years on the council. My background's in geology, and I work my day job at Habitat for Humanity of Dane County. And so as you might imagine, going into this term, and for the last 2 years, housing has been a major priority for me, and it's something that we really need to, we're working on spending our affordable housing fund money. We have a housing plan that's about to be adopted in mid-April that that's been updated for the first time in many years, and that's a huge priority going into next year. For the last few years, I've been focused on sustainability. We have a sustainability plan that was adopted last year for the first time, which was really exciting for the city, and also our fleet of electric vehicles has grown, which also saves the city money. There's a lot of savings associated with that, so that's been exciting to see that over the years. And also public transit was something I first talked about when I ran, and we're looking at expanding our public transit system. We were hoping this summer. It looks like it might be a little bit delayed because of Madison Metro, but public transit expansion will be coming in the city. So it's been the greatest honor of my life to serve. I'm really excited to be here for another 2 years, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions about the city. Thanks.
Thanks, Gabriella. All right, I'll have Joe come up.
Hey everybody, I am also on the council serving going into my 4th term. I'm Joe Maldonado. I'm representing District 1, which is Northwest Fitchburg. Really have been proud to serve alongside a lot of the folks here in our audience. I've served on Community Economic Development Authority, as well as Bike Commission and Bike and Ped Commission and Personnel Committee. I'm really proud of the work we've done around developing housing, expanding transportation, and completing our updated bike and pedestrian plan with the city of Fitchburg. And also, of course, you heard Hasta Hochi mentioned. That's a very proud moment for our city, in that we've built a park in a neighborhood that's very sparse on parks. And we have a park community center and a bike, why am I blanking on the name? A pump track, exactly. And we worked closely with the Ho-Chunk Nation to be able to give a name, which means gathering place. And I just want to thank our park commissioner and our city council for approving that. Additionally, we're in a time in our city and in our country that's very scary. There's a lot of push against cities from the federal government, against our most vulnerable populations. So I'm very proud of the city for launching a Know Your Rights page and highlighting the different resources that we have through Voces de la Frontera, through Centro Hispano, to protect our most vulnerable communities. I think in this point in time, it's incredibly important that we notice and lean into the power that we have in local government to be able to make changes in our local communities and be able to hold the line to protect all of our residents and make sure that everybody in our city feels safe. So running another term unopposed, but very honored to be able to serve the residents of this city. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, before we begin, I will give each of the candidates 2 minutes to introduce yourselves and their top 3 priorities as an elected official in 2026. So go ahead and we'll get started with Mayor Julia. Yeah.
So, good morning, everyone. Buenos días a todos. First, I want to say thank you to the Fitchburg Chamber for hosting this forum. This is a great opportunity for us, all of us here sitting, to share with you what our platform and what we intend to do in the next, for me, 3 years. So as you know, some of you know me, I am originally from Argentina. I came to this country 30 years ago to pursue grad student, and then we decided to stay. And we came only for 2 years, and so we hope we are here for more than 30. But I moved to Fitchburg 21 years ago. And since then, I call Fitchburg home. I raised my family here, and since 2015, I got involved in city common council, representing District 2 for almost 8 years. District 2 is this area where we're here right now. And it was an honor. And 3 years ago, you gave me the opportunity to be your mayor. And for me, it has been the honor of my life to serve this city. I really enjoy what I'm doing and have the energy, and we have accomplished a lot, but our work is not done. When I say we, is to say I don't do this job alone. I have an incredible group of people at the Common Council, city staff, and all the stakeholders, like neighbors, developer, business partners, a school district. So we all work together to improve the quality of life of this city. So, I have many priorities. My 3 priority, I will say, continue to build a safe and thriving community. Housing, I'm going to explain more in my other question about housing initiatives. We have plenty that we already launched last year, and we have plenty to implement this year. And also continue investing in infrastructure because, the city is growing. And as we grow, we need to invest in our infrastructure, expand our sewer, water, utility, you name it. So, and of course, the main goal is to provide the excellent service that we are doing with, maintaining, I would say, a limit on the tax base and how much we raise our taxes. So that one are going to be a couple of my priorities for next year.
Awesome. I am Victoria LaBrosse, and I'm running here for mayor in the city of Fitchburg because I deeply care about our community and where our city is heading. And so for me, it's super important that the decisions that we're making today will shape what the city looks like for years to come. And so a little background about myself. My educational background is I hold dual bachelor's degrees from University of Wisconsin-Madison in political science and economics. And I've created my career with different political and real estate positions, as well as holding my broker's license in real estate as well. Today, I serve as the executive director of the Apartment Association of South Central Wisconsin. We're a nonprofit organization that serves housing providers with education, seminars, and local and state advocacy in the legislature and local municipalities. Additionally, I'm the VP of Business Development at KSW Construction, a commercial construction firm in Verona. And so the combination of my unique experience not only gives me the theoretical knowledge to be of service, but it gives me the real world experience and understanding of how decisions that are made at City Hall impact the lives of our Fitchburg residents. And so for me, my priorities are abundantly clear. Local government's job and responsibility is to provide strong infrastructure, public safety, and strong and sustainable growth throughout the years. And so every decision, policy, and dollar spent has to be in the pursuit of those policies. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Donald Dantzler. Currently serve as one of the alders here in Fitchburg in District 3 and have the opportunity to have done that for the past 2 years since 2024. Originally, I'm from Joliet, Illinois, south suburb of the Chicago area. And since moving back from playing basketball overseas in 2013, I have been in the Wisconsin area, or in the Madison area, sorry. And then I've lived in Fitchburg for about the past 6 years. Educationally, I have a bachelor's degree in economics. I have a master's degree in education policy studies, and also I'm a PhD candidate right now in educational leadership and policy analysis at UW-Madison, and looking to defend here soon. Professionally, I work at One City Schools as the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at One City, and have been in the education space my whole career. Primarily in education research and evaluation, and currently just transitioned to a different type of role now, working with One City. My priorities include education, primarily in Fitchburg, not having a centralized school district, and trying to make sure that we have viable options for our youth to have here in the city, expanding on things like our Youth Government Week and some of the other programs that we can host potentially in our new space that we have over here at Hastahochi. Housing, everyone has talked about that. Housing prices, we've seen them soar. So just bringing more diversification in the terms of housing we have here to increase the supply in the city of Fitchburg, which hopefully can drive the price down. And then lastly, transportation, just expanding our bus rapid transit system, primarily in District 3, where we've added and annexed the town of Madison and some of the other areas that is difficult to navigate currently right now in the city of Fitchburg, specifically in District 3, without a vehicle. So thank you.
All right, my name is Jay Allen. I have lived in Fitchburg since 1983, which was a long freaking time ago. When I first moved to Fitchburg, the population was 12,000 something. We're now over 30,000 people. And we've been growing rapidly, and it's some of the growth is good, most of the growth is good. Some of it causes me concern, as people have talked already. The housing issues are huge. The cost of buying a house has gone through the roof. When I first moved here, the average price of a house was $180,000. It's now over $300,000. And many of the new houses that are being built in Fitchburg are over $500,000. That's a lot. And, you know, I remember back in the day, a bank would not qualify you for a mortgage unless you had income of at least 3 times the price of the house. Well, now those numbers are just completely warped, and banks are approving mortgages for people who can't afford the houses, and that's why we end up with defaults on mortgages. And it's not really any better in the rental situation, where you know, and I appreciate your work with the apartment owners, but you know, when an average apartment costs $1,800 a month, that's just a big bite, and it's not really an improvement over trying to buy a house. So some people who are trying to save some money are running into big problems. Transportation is another issue that we do need to continue to expand on. I worked very hard in the Southdale neighborhood to maintain the bus service there when Madison Metro was trying to cut it several years ago. And fortunately, the council voted unanimously with me to keep the bus routes that had been traditional in that neighborhood. And so the people who live there, it's a lower income neighborhood, and the people who live there were able to maintain their lower cost transportation options. So those are some of the things I'm going to be working on, and you'll be hearing more as we go through the rest of this meeting.
Good morning, everyone. I wrote my name on the top of this in case I forget, apparently. But my name is Jake Lepper. I was appointed to the council in last November, and I'm running to have a full term on the council. I am a husband, a new dad. My daughter just turned 1 last month on Valentine's Day. I've lived in Fitchburg since 2023. In my full-time job, I'm a police sergeant for the university. I also have volunteer experience in the EMS field, and then I served for 6 years in the Wisconsin Army National Guard as well. My undergraduate degree is from UW-Madison, and then I have a master's degree from Northeastern University. And ultimately, a lot of my work has been centered around public safety, and I sort of approach leadership with a human-centric focus. I want anything that I do in whatever capacity, but especially on the council, to have a positive impact on the humans that we share a community with, because ultimately Fitchburg doesn't exist without all the people that live here and work here and call this city home. So my priorities for a full term on the council would be public safety. I approach public safety with a more holistic lens, I think. So obviously, I want to support our police officers, our firefighters, EMS. They should be well trained and supported and paid. However, I think public safety is more than that, and I think public safety also comes from alternative response models and making our public safety organizations more efficient, and also just supporting thriving communities where people can work and have a warm meal every night. That is public safety in my mind. Obviously, I want to support attainable and varied housing options. So I want the first responders who work in our communities to be able to live here, teachers, young families. I want the people who are growing old in the city to be able to stay in their homes. And then finally, I'd say environmental protection and sustainability is one of my other priorities. I want my daughter to still be able to play in the snow in 10 years, and I think Fitchburg can be a national leader in that. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, candidates. So at this time, I want to remind everybody and our candidates that this is a forum. It's not a debate. So each candidate will be given a minute and a half. Angela's in front of you. She'll have the 30 seconds reminding so that you'll know when to stop answering your question. And then we're hopefully going to leave about 10 to 15 minutes at the end for anybody in the audience to be able to ask questions as well. These are not going to go in any order specifically, so I might call on you to answer the question out of order. So It's not going to go down the line like we just did. But we are going to start off with a mayor's only question. So candidates, you don't have to answer this. You won't be answering this, but we will start with the mayor candidates only for just this question. So the mayor only candidates, Fitchburg has invested in a housing plan. When this plan is adopted, how will your leadership ensure that the plan is implemented so that it achieves what it is intended to do? And Julia, if you would like to start.
Thank you. So yes, housing. I was very involved in the creation and planning of this housing plan, and also in the one that we did in 2019. And this is a revision of what we did in 2019. And one of the most important things about this plan is that some of the goals and objectives, we are already working on that. So last year, the council implemented and we launched the housing initiative for the city. We are using a $10 million affordable housing fund to implement and to build more houses, workforce houses in the city that we need. These are the houses for our teacher, police officer, firefighter, because we want those people to work close to the business that they work, and also to maintain that those people living in the city. So one of the things that for me as a mayor is to be sure that when we create these plans, we execute them. We provide the deliverable. And we did a great job with the 2019 housing plan. We accomplished most of the objectives, but now it's time to move to the next phase. And I think my role as a mayor is to be sure that all the policies and objectives of that plan they will be implemented, working with the council and city staff and all the stakeholders. So the other thing that we are planning to do with this housing plan is almost done. The final draft is running through commission. It's going to be in front of the council for approval on April 14. We are planning to do a developer roundtable too. I don't know if it's with this plan or with the city motion plan too, but the idea is to bring to the table all the voices, that represent the city and determine why it's important to continue to invest in workforce housing here in the city and to increase the supply of any type of housing, So we need housing at all levels, and all incomes. So we need to build around, according to the regional housing plan, we need to build around 495 units per year. According to our housing plan, we should be building 396 units per year. And we need to maintain the ratio between homeowner occupied and rental. I'm sorry, stop. Sorry, I didn't see it.
Hopefully the candidates will stay afterwards, so if you have some additional questions for them, you can feel free to ask them some questions. All right, go ahead, Victoria.
Awesome. And so with my expertise in housing, the housing plan that the City Council is working on has a lot of great goals and priorities in it. However, implementation really comes to accountability and credibility moving forward, right? So if we're saying that housing increases and housing affordability are our priorities, every single zoning decision, development approval, and city policy has to align with that. And so for me, I would push towards having those benchmarks that can be monitored on a continuous basis. Because if we're not ensuring that we're meeting our goals with the implementations that we're making, we're not going to get to the goals at the end of the day. And also push for more consistent communication between residents, council, and necessary stakeholders to ensure any changes or implementations that we are making the impact that we are intending and that we're desiring, and then make any changes as necessary to ensure that, again, we are meeting the goals within this great plan that you guys have worked so hard to do. And then finally, I would engage with developers, neighborhood organizations, and other organizations to ensure that we can remove any barriers necessary that are inhibiting the types of housing that we need here in Fitchburg, whether that's from true starter homes to single families to apartments to senior housing. It's our job to ensure that we are creating the best environment for those developments. And so we truthfully need to take this plan as a living, breathing document. We can't just put it on a shelf and say, look at these great goals. Every single decision that we make has to be in pursuit and on the success of the need for more housing here and the more affordability in Fitchburg.
Thank you. All right, our next question then. I'm going to go a little bit out of order from what you guys, from what we've submitted them. So the first question I'm going to ask is, the city is currently updating its comprehensive plan. This will guide where and how Fitchburg grows for the next 10 to 20 years. What do you see as a priority or a need during this process and adopted in the comprehensive plan? Donald, if you would like to start.
Yes, I think as we're going through the comprehensive plan, the big thing is making sure that we are involving individuals in the process and making those communications aware to necessary stakeholders, so that we can develop this not only for the residents of Fitchburg, but with the residents of Fitchburg. There's been a lot of talk around the city in terms of that we haven't been communicating a lot of those things well. And even though we do make an effort to reach out to constituents, individuals have newsletters, social media, and other forms, but we definitely want to make sure and include the residents of Fitchburg in this new comprehensive plan that we want to have for the city. And then within that plan, just continue as some of the individuals have talked about in terms of our housing, using the funds that we have available to look at those, potentially look at some of our zoning codes as well to possibly increase density in some areas where we have. Because I know everybody says we build too many apartments or we build too many things in the city. However, it's one of the ways that we can increase our housing supply in the city. And I'm not saying we need to have an entire city of apartments, but conversely, we can't have an entire city of single-family homes either. So we have to be smart about the diversification of how we're going to include not only housing in the city, but also the businesses and things that we're bringing in. And then specifically in District 3, as we built Terra Vesta kind of on the outer banks of the city of Fitchburg, being smart about how we bring more development back towards the area of City Hall, and making sure that we have enough transportation to add in to be able for an individual to navigate the city. Thank you.
Great. Jay, if you'd like to go next.
Yeah, I've lived in what is now District 3 for a very long time. It was where I live now was originally District 4, but now it's District 3 because populations have shifted. And one of the things that we've seen happening in the district is there's a lot of housing being built. There's a lot of single-family housing, a lot of multifamily housing, but we're not really building any kind of commercial base in the district. So one of the things I really want to see in District 3, something we need is a grocery store, for example. Right now, if someone is in District 3 and they want to go buy some food, they got to drive all the way to Fish Hatchery Road. And there's no reason for that. We have plenty of population there, but part of it is finding ways to incentivize the developers to build the types of multi-use buildings that we need. So far, a lot of the apartment buildings have been built with just apartments. We have one building that's got a tavern in it, which it's a nice place, and I go there often because it's a block away from where I live. But we need more than just that. And on the other side in Terra Vesta, there's a couple of businesses on the bottoms of some smaller buildings. But I would love to see a building like the one on East Washington that has the Festival Foods in the lower level, has some built-in parking right there, and then has a bunch of residential units above that. I think that's the kind of building that would go really well in that neighborhood and would enhance the quality of life for everybody living there.
Great. Victoria, if you'd like to go next, please.
Our comprehensive plan has to encourage both sustainable and financially responsible growth. And obviously one of those ways is the housing diversity. Many of us have talked about that we have to be able to diversify the density to ensure that everybody within our city has a place to go, whether they are young professionals, families, or seniors. The density changes make it possible for everyone to be able to stay here for long term. Additionally, we do need to aggressively start recruiting different commercial, retail, and industrial growth. This not only solidifies our tax base long term, but it also allows for more opportunities for our residents to have places to work, to stay, and play, all within the city limits and not having to drive outside of it. And in addition, we have to make sure that we maintain, and sorry, this is echoey, so apologies, I'll back up. We also have to maintain the core elements of our comprehensive plan long-term. We cannot make short-sighted decisions that negatively impact both the financial health of the city long-term, but also for future potential growth. So we really do sometimes need to make those hard decisions and say no or make different choices based off what's better for the city in a long-term strategic way.
All right, go ahead, Mayor Julia.
Okay, so I assume that most of you know what is a comprehensive plan. It's a very important document that guides the city future about where we are going to invest, how we are going to grow, where we're going to bring development to the city, and how we're going to use our future land use. One of the priority for me in the next comprehensive plan that is we already sent the RFP. We are revising the RFP, so we are going to start soon working with not only with the comprehensive plan, but we are doing a revision of our zoning code too at the same time. So one of the priority and discussion that we need to have is we need to have a community conversation about if we need to move or the service area lane to the south. Because the city is going to, this plan is for the next 20, 30 years. So we need to know how the city is going to grow. And if we look at the map, we should be, growing southeast, southwest, and south. So I think we need to have a conversation with all the stakeholders, farmers, school district, business, especially the neighbors, to determine if we need to move that service urban area to the south. We need to have that conversation. Maybe we need to do it because that one was critical for us to growth in the future. If we don't have that conversation, what is going to happen in 20, 30 years when they say we don't have more land to build because we didn't have the plan. So, and also we need to create the future urban development areas when we do through this process.
Great, and then go ahead, Jake.
So in my learning about the city, I reviewed the existing comprehensive plan, and it put forth the pillars of sustainability, equity, creating vibrant communities, and that they're community-led. And I think that needs to continue as we plan for the future of Fitchburg. So taking what is already good and building it to address the challenges of the next decade or 2 decades. So for me, what that looks like is Fitchburg has been doing a really good job of building spaces and investing in things that are sustainable from like an environmental standpoint, but also from a growth and development standpoint. So making sure that we're not doing things too quickly in a way that it's not going to be intentional anymore. We've also been investing in some of the neighborhoods that have been underserved in Fitchburg, and I think that's phenomenal. I think we need to continue to prioritize that. And then ultimately, if we do these things in a community-led way, that's going to lead to having vibrant communities. From an efficiency standpoint, I think instead of just looking at outward growth, I think we can also look at developing the existing spaces where we already have our public transit and water and other infrastructure and reinvigorate them to meet the needs of folks who live here for the next few decades and make sure that we're not displacing what makes Fitchburg good. And then ultimately, when we do look outwards for growth, doing that in a holistic way so that we're not just looking at housing, we're looking at all the other parts of the city that are going to be affected, our public safety infrastructure, our transit, so that we're growing with all the parts that make our community a community as we expand in the next couple decades.
Great. All right, our next question then is, what makes Fitchburg unique, and how would your leadership protect and enhance that as the city evolves? Mayor Julia, if you'd like to start first.
Okay, thank you. So one of the things that make Fitchburg unique is, we have this charm to be urban, rural. We are a very young and diverse community, but also we are growing a lot. We are strategically located at the heart of the county. That one brings a lot of possibility for business to come to this region, people and family to move here. But the other thing it was the question that some of the council members have heard me about saying this many times is, all the surrounding municipalities, we all provide excellent municipal service, okay? We all provide the base. Why people move to Fitchburg? Why family want to move here? What we are providing that is more extraordinary? And I think for me is the quality of life. This is what you have seen, that we have been investing in green spaces, improving transportation, continuing investing in building more houses, improving our park system, building and investing in infrastructure, because that one is when people feel safe and the people feel that the neighbors care about them. And also, if I remember when I came to this community 21 years ago, I didn't know anything about Fitchburg, but I felt so welcoming here. I sent my kid to Leopold School, and we made friends from the neighborhood that they send the kid to the school, and they are still our friends. So that creates community where neighbors care about each other. They like to live here because they think that everyone is welcoming here. And I always say, I don't care if you live in $1 million home or renting an apartment in North Fishhatchee Road. Everyone is a resident of this city. Everyone is welcoming. And this is my job as a mayor, is to provide a safety. People feel like they are living in a thriving community for all.
Great. Go ahead, Victoria.
Thank you. So Fitchburg truly has always been a unique place, especially even just given how we became a city and that fight to become one. And we've also been just blessed with people who are trailblazers, who aren't afraid to stand up for what's right and do that hard thing, right? And so what makes Fitchburg so great is not just our natural beauty or our proximity to Madison, but it's the people who live here and the desire we have to be a community and make something of Fitchburg and the community that we have. And so if elected as mayor, my job is then to create more opportunities and support for all of our residents here, whether that's economic development opportunities, supporting our local businesses, and encouraging volunteering with places like Gigi's Playhouse, or having blood drives, and things like that are so important. Because the more people who are engaged and committed to our city, the better off we are. It doesn't matter how old you are or your gender or any other delineations. Being involved in local politics, local organizations, and volunteering your time is what makes us such a strong place and makes it such an available city for all of our voices to be heard and for everyone to feel welcome and committed to making us such an amazing and unique city.
Go ahead, Donald.
Yeah, many folks have already hit on the main points that kind of make us a unique city, but just a few again. Like we don't necessarily have a unified school district. We don't have a real downtown area. We don't have a post office and some of these other things, and we probably need to have potentially more grocery stores, a grocery store come into the city. But those negatives or those lacks also make us a vibrant community still, I think, and people still want to come here and live. And it's been one of the fastest growing cities that we've seen here in Dane County. And I think that the thing that makes us unique is the community and the things, and folks want to come together. Yes, we're growing, but we're still small enough to be able to support one another. And I think under my leadership in District 3 and my current co-alder as well, we've had more engagement than we've seen in District 3 in a very long time. If the residents call, we come, whether that's we get yelled at there, or we have to have some tough conversations, or we have to explain ourselves on policy or things that we voted on. We have no problem having those conversations. And I think that's been a huge plus for District 3. And the last thing I think under my leadership is transparency. And I think that's huge in politics today, where a lot of things, people are very distrusting sometimes of politics, and they make promises in rooms, but then they may, see them in a meeting and you think they won't vote the same way. But I really believe in transparency and having those conversations with folks. And if I make a decision, whatever the vote may be, you can call me and I can tell you the data, what information I process to make that decision. And I think that's what, under my leadership, we've done well throughout District 3.
Thank you. All right, Jay, go ahead.
So one of the things that people talk to me about all the time is the city's parks. We have a lot of parks, a lot of parks. That costs a lot of money to maintain, but it's one of the things that we have that makes our city a little different than many of the other cities around that might have one big park and maybe a couple of pocket parks. We've got parks everywhere. And that's important. It's important for people to have spaces where they can go to get outside and to, we've invested a lot of money in pickleball courts lately. Prior to that, we invested a lot of money in tennis courts. We've invested a lot of money into a lot of recreational things that are important for the city. What we don't really have right now is based in the city are organizations that can actually amplify and make these amenities that we have amplified so that people know that they're there. But that will come. Eventually it will come. If you build it, they will come, right? So that's one of the things that makes our community unique. Another one is it was already brought up earlier, the diversity in this city, not just income, but ethnicity. We have a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds. Fitchburg is consistently one of the most diverse communities in Dane County, and I value that. That's an important thing. I am glad that my children did not grow up in a place that lacked diversity, that they got the ability to spend time with other people, to learn about different cultures. And they're taking those lessons as they become adults now. They're taking those lessons into the world and into their future. So I think that's a lot of what makes Fitchburg unique.
Great. All right, go ahead, Jake.
When my husband and I were starting our house hunting journey 3 years ago, my criteria were I don't want to live in Fitchburg and I don't want to have to redo the house. And obviously, if we live in Fitchburg, and I've peeled about 4 square miles of wallpaper off of our walls so far, so I lost the argument. But the reason I put that out is because I didn't know anything about Fitchburg. All I knew was that we don't have a downtown, and community is big for me, and I wanted to have the opportunity to engage in those sorts of spaces. So I think what makes Fitchburg unique, and what I have been very pleasantly proved wrong with, is the fact that we have been able to cultivate the kind of community that we have here without those sort of traditional downtown spaces. Last Saturday I got to go to the Copia concerts at the Four Winds Farm. Last December I went to the Agora holiday thing. And just the fact that we have been able to integrate businesses and all these community groups and our neighbors in parks has been really astounding to me, and I think that is something that makes Fitchburg unique. And ultimately, I think that one of my priorities is that as we develop as a city, that we're bringing all those voices to the table, because businesses and our neighbors and everyone has a stake in what makes Fitchburg a place that they want to be. And as we grow outwards, making sure, I've already said it, but that we're doing it in a holistic way, so that we are taking that fantastic communal atmosphere that we've been able to develop in Fitchburg and carrying it forward, so that we're not distorting the things that make us all want to call this place home into something that we don't want it to be. So.
Great. We have one more question for everybody to answer, and then we are closing in on the 9 o'clock, so if you guys have to leave, please feel free to leave. It's not going to disrupt us or anything. So with that, the last question, Fitchburg residents enjoy a quality of life that is enhanced by a thriving business community that provides services, goods, and entertainment. In your role as an elected official, how will you continue to strengthen and help our businesses thrive? Jake, if you'd like to start.
I would like to say that I'm the first to admit that I still have a lot to learn. I've been on the council for 3 months now, and I've learned a lot, but I still very much want to know how I can best support our business communities. So in my mind, in thinking about this question and doing research, I believe that one of the most important things that we can do for our business community is to provide stability. And I see that as one of the main roles of local government, is to be stable and predictable. So you all and the businesses in this community need to know what their tax base is going to be as they plan for the years ahead. And they need to know that the bus lines that are bringing people to their business are going to continue to be there so that their bottom line is not going to be affected and that they're going to have that customer base. So I think as a local government, we need to build those systems that are going to support the residents. And when we are supporting the residents, that's going to support the businesses in the long run. To continue that, I've already talked a lot about holistic growth. One of the things I really value about where I live is that I can walk to restaurants and coffee shops and shop, and I can walk home from the bar if I had 3 old fashions instead of driving, and I think that's important for a community. And so as we bring businesses in, making sure that they are really intentionally part of the fabric of what makes our community great is going to be the ways that we can best support them as a council.
Thank you. All right, Jay, go ahead.
A lot of the discussion today has been about housing, and that involves developers. And so one of the things I want to touch on, which didn't come up already, which I'm surprised by, is that Fitchburg has been well recognized as a community that has a very fast approval process for getting projects done. And that saves bureaucracy, that saves money, and that should translate into more affordability. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be playing out that way in real life, but there's more work that can be done there. But there are other businesses besides developers and bars in Fitchburg. And that's some of what we need to really focus on is how do we increase other types of businesses? We have Noble Night Games in Fitchburg, which has game nights all the time, and that's a great business for our community. It brings people in who don't live in Fitchburg. We have a theater of I think it's 18 screens, and that's a great business to have that brings people in who don't normally live in Fitchburg. We have a large number of retail stores on the western side of the city, but we need other types of businesses too. We need. I would love to have some sort of smaller concert venue, maybe something that could bring in 1,000 seats. I would love to have other types of businesses that would bring more diversity to the business community. And those are things that I'm hoping to start working on and continue working on if I'm reelected.
All right, go ahead, Donald.
I think the first thing to do with the business community is to actually support the businesses that we currently have and make sure that we as council members are going to those venues, and then also encouraging residents to attend those venues as they're having events and those types of things. The second thing would be is when people want to come and they come to the alders and they pitch a business idea. Logan and I went a couple weeks ago to talk to them about if it's in your specific district or whatever area it is in the city, about being realistic about what that area actually needs at that time. To have so the developer or the builders who are trying to bring the business there have a realistic expectation of what they're about to do and the business they're putting in that community. Because the last thing you don't want to set anyone up for failure. And then lastly, I think that with the business community, as Fitchburg is growing and as Fitchburg is becoming more diverse, we have to bring businesses that are more diverse as well in terms of food, in terms of clothing, in terms of special needs, in terms of all of these things that we have to have in the city so that populations don't always have to travel to a neighboring city to get their needs met, whether that be for food or just to get your hair done or haircut or some of these other things. And I think those are the types of businesses that as we bring them to the city, will continue to be a vibrant city and will continue to grow, and we'll see a lot of the needs met here in the city of Fitchburg. And as a lot of the times that we talked about, which I think goes back to a holistic public safety issue as well, is that when your needs are met, typically People are more happy. There's less crime. There's less other things in the city, and I think that we've been doing a good job with that in the city of Fitchburg, and we need to continue doing so.
All right, go ahead, Victoria.
Thanks. So business in a strong business community is essential for our community to not only be financially stable, but also create that community that we all love so much. And so as mayor, I would focus on making Fitchburg a place that businesses want to locate to and want to grow within, right? Supporting those from start throughout their life cycle. And so our comprehensive plan has to start by creating more areas for commercial, industrial, and retail growth. Because even if businesses want to come, if there isn't a place for them to go, they will choose a neighboring a city. And we're seeing a lot of that right now with losing some of these opportunities to neighboring communities like Verona because of the lack of available areas for those businesses to develop in. And even though, and I'm a very pro-housing person, adding in residential units are incredibly important. It's on our priority list. It cannot be in the detriment to our long-term financial health in the city. And so if we're changing over what was slated for commercial or industrial land previously for housing, we're actually reversing what we should be doing for the long-term health as a city to be able to provide the community and basis for our residents here. Because the more businesses that come, the more our residents can stay, play, and work all in this area, and that not only services our residents, but it also services our local government as well.
All right, go ahead, Mayor Julia.
Thriving business community start with a strong fundamentals. So my role as a mayor is to be sure that we live in a safe city where people want to come to invest here. So the first thing is we need to start with safety, provide that all the neighborhoods, and we have the correct lighting, that business feel comfortable to come here and invest. Infrastructure. When we talk about infrastructure, we need to provide good roads, broadband, transit, and also workforce housing too is critical because we want to provide, we want the employers to find employees that they live close by the companies, because when we have employees living nearby in the city or nearby the city, the whole community, business community thrive here. And also we need to provide partnership, we need to work with, we are a great partner with the Greater Chamber of Commerce, with all the stakeholders, and since I became mayor, I have been meeting with the president and CEOs of most of the company here. I go to those meetings with the city administrator and the economic development director, and we meet with those CEOs and presidents and say, okay, why are you want to stay in Fitchburg? What are your challenges and opportunities, and how we can partner with you? We are a partner with the business community here. And we are continuously looking for options. Like you mentioned that we need to have more grocery store in District 3. We are working behind the scene. Our economic development team is working very hard behind the scene to bring what are the business that we are missing in our city and how to bring it to the city. So, and we are also working with the business community through our City in Motion plan, that is our economic development strategy plan that we already started last year, and this is where we're working with our business community to determine how we're going to be those goals for the next 5 years. Well,
All right, let's do a round of applause for all of them for being here today. Questions. Let's do some questions. From the audience. Okay.
Thank you. Sean Paff, resident of Seminole Forest. Question for you is, you all talk about affordability, I appreciate that, but that is a serious issue out there, and what things could you do with the city to make property taxes more affordable? I understand the Madison School District, Verona School District, Oregon School District are on the tax bills as well, but as a former mayor, the city's the one that sends out the property tax bill, so sometimes voters have a hard time realizing who's putting things on the tax bill. What can the city do to help make taxes more affordable in Fitchburg? Thank you.
question? For me? For who? Okay.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you can start.
So I think that goes back to having more availability and ready land for commercial, industrial, and business growth, because that's what really solidifies our tax base. If we can spread out our tax rate across the levy with having more assessed value with businesses that are going to use less services over time, that's when you start to see actually decreases in our property taxes. If we continually only build one type of housing or only build businesses, we're not creating the diversity needed to create a stable tax base. And so that's where we really can, at a city level, create the relief that some of us are feeling when those tax bills come in the spring by making those smart policies and utilizing TID and TIF to be able to create some of those industrial parks and business retail opportunities.
So we have been very fiscal responsible in the last couple of years in the city of Fitchburg regarding taxes. So I want to share that in the last 5 years, our tax increase have been, in average, 1.2, when inflation has been 4.4. So, and it has been hard for the city, to maintain those. If you look at our city portion, of our taxes in the last 5 years, you will see that our taxes have not been, you don't see a peak, they come stable. And we are trying to be very careful in maintaining that, that ceiling, but inflationary costs, construction costs, health insurance costs, have been a lot of pressure in our budget in the recent couple of years. The council has been very, very, proactive. When we put together, when I propose my budget and approve my budget, is looking at always not surpass the inflation rate on our increases in taxes, because we are not immune to the inflation. So yes, but I will tell you that we have been doing a great job of maintaining, that stability and be sure that our tax increases don't go over inflationary rate.
Great. I saw a hand up over here. Next question, Jenny.
Question probably more for Mayor Julia. Can you talk about levy limits and how that affects the budget?
Limits are imposed by the state, and it say that we can increase our the way that we collect, all the money from the rest in the city, up to a percentage that is called the net new construction. So in the city, we are lucky because we have been growing in the last couple of years. Our net new construction last year was 2.9%. It means that we cannot collect increase the levy more than 2.9%. On the other hand, we saw inflation going more than 3%, and all the other factors growing more than inflation. So what happened is that the net new construction allow us to maintain the existing services that the city provide. In 2011, the formula was different. You used to have two components. You used to have a base, 3%, plus the net new construction. So the base allow you to absorb the inflationary cost, and the net new construction allow the municipality to for example, hire more police officers, hire more firefighters, hire more staff, or implement a new project or program. But in 2011, the formula changed, and we only have the net new construction. That one is practically putting a lot of constraint when we prepare our budget, because it means that we cannot raise taxes more the net new construction. But so that one has been something that we are advocating now at the legislature, a couple of mayors that we work together very closely to determine how we can bring more tax relief to the local taxpayer, or the state need to start funding better the school district, or they need to make the levy formula make it more flexible, or add back that base. Because it has been very hard for municipality in the last 10 years, putting together budget because of those constraints.
All right, I know we had one over here. It is 9 o'clock, so if you have to leave, you're welcome to.
Hi, the city of Fitchburg recently had a failed referendum and wheel tax. Can everyone on this panel explain how in this candidate forum we're for affordability, but in practice we see seeking a referendum to increase taxes and to raise fees through wheel taxes?
Okay, who wants to go first?
So with the referendum, I'll start with the fact that when we did propose this, the first thing that we did was went to the residents of the city to decide a threshold that the city and the residents were comfortable on. So a survey was sent out. We got the data back, analyzed it, and looked at it, and we took basically the median amount that residents of Fitchburg said that they would be comfortable with to go to a referendum, which was 3.6 million, something along those lines. Unfortunately, the city staff did an amazing job of doing all of these presentations around different parts of the city, different modalities, so everybody could attend, whether it was virtual, in person, and all of these other things. But unfortunately, that didn't pass. Because that didn't pass, that didn't erase the need to hire more public safety officers. So for the police department, for the fire department, a communications director, someone in the accounting office, those needs didn't go away. And then also, we got a big, beautiful police facility that residents of the city wanted as well. And we have to figure out a way to create operating expenses to pay for it for when it's up and running. So after that failed referendum, the wheel tax came because a good majority or a good chunk of that money is the money that'll be the operating expenses for our police facility, which admittedly so they do need, because they are in the basement of City Hall and the city is growing and they do need more officers, and we had to get them out of there. So those were the reasons that we had to do that, or we would have been slashing services or potentially positions at that time if we weren't able to make up those funds that we needed to balance the upcoming budget.
That I think where we really see where the rubber hits the road with the failed referendum and the wheel tax and the subsequent needs of the city is the referendum. While it was said that if it was for police and fire, it would have passed. But then we added transportation to that. And then we added additional city staffing to that. And then we kept adding to become this inflated, vague referendum that truthfully the city of Fitchburg's citizens very much said, we don't want this. We don't want this increased tax. And to immediately then go 4 months later and pass a flat tax for transportation is disingenuous because it's just a shell game, right? That money has to be used for transportation, but they're just freeing levy money up to then go spend on the other priorities that are no longer being used in that transportation budget. And in terms of the police building, we definitely needed it, right? We are growing, we needed a new facility, we have outgrown our current one. But then on the operating budget side, the City of Fitchburg Council removed the revenue generating source that building would have had. So we say, hey, we delivered this under budget police facility, but then we removed the range and training facility that not only would make our police better trained, we could then charge other departments for usage of that range. And so now we're removing the revenue generation base out of that building, which is then lowering our revenue for the entire city. And flat taxes, as you know, affect the most disproportionately to our marginalized communities. $40 might not be a lot to you, but it is a lot to others. And if they can't pay their registration that month, and they have to decide, do I drive to work or not? I bet you they're going to decide to drive to work. And then they get pulled over because they don't have active registration. And now they can't pay the registration, and they can't pay that ticket they just got. But they have to choose whether or not they're going to go to work. And this is the choices that this council and this mayor has made. And now they're going to drive with these tickets that they can't afford to do. Their insurance is going to go up because they got a ticket. And now what? They get pulled over again, their license gets suspended. They might go to jail. for driving on a suspended license, and we're going to say that these priorities that the city is doing is worth that risk, the voters said no for the referendum. You don't get to then go play a shell game and affect the most disproportionate members of our community.
Can I just make one clarifying point real quick?
Can I?
Can I just say one thing?
Okay.
I just want to say one thing, I'm sorry. But just to correct just a couple things is so we are fully talking about the same thing here. Once the referendum was packaged together, there was never anything added to it. Just so we're clear. It was always packaged with all of the components that it had when it went out to the residents. And a second thing to correct is if we built that police facility with the live shooting range on top of the training facility on top of that police facility, it would not have came in at the dollar amount that we have it now. It would have been upwards of $50 million or more, which would have been a lot more on the taxpayer than that $40 wheel tax. So I just want us to be clear about what we're talking about here. So we're comparing apples to apples and we're not overinflating certain situations. And that's all I want to say.
Since we are allowing corrections, it's not about packaging whether it was packaged or not. The recommendations from the Police Foundation, the fire foundations were to say that this would pass if it was just for fire and police staffing. There was an incredible amount of state funding available for this range. It's not about whether or not the total cost of the building was more. Of course, you build more, it costs more. But there was grant money available for that range that then creates reoccurring revenue for generations. Ranges last for decades. Beloit just built a range made out of a range that was from the 1950s.
Okay, can I also do my final? Okay, no, 30 seconds, no. First of all, there is another thing to clarify. First, the revenue for the shooting range were about $50,000, okay, that we can collect. And the cost of operating these facilities is $500,000. So, even if we have a shooting range there and we are rented out, we will never cover the operational cost. Second, as a mayor, I had to be fair. And I make all my decisions with fairness. So we have 14 departments in the city of Fitchburg, and all of them are understaffed. So when we put together this referendum and the package, I had to be fair with all the departments in the city. Not only police and fire, but also what happened in planning, in engineer, in finance. I had to be fair. And the council was fair. And the also council said, we need to be fair. Because I can see that 200 other employees will look and say, why this guy, they get the building, they get they get more funding, they got more staff. What about us? We are part of the community. We are also the engine of this city hall moving the city forward. So as a mayor, I had to be fair. So this is why I supported the other additional staffing in the referendum, because I have 14 departments, not 2, that I had to care. And then we were very honest with the residents of Fitchburg that referendum was plan A. But if the referendum failed, we need to look for additional revenue sources. And I was very fair with the community. The day the referendum failed, I sent a press release and I say, the referendum failed. We listened to the neighbors where, they didn't approve that. But then what? The need didn't disappear. And I had to run a city, and with all this need. So we knew that plan B will be vehicle registration fee. And I agree with you. Vehicle registration fee is a regressive tax. But at the end of the day, as a mayor, I had to look at the long-term sustainability of the city. And I need to pay for a $500,000 police facility operational cost. So this is why we made the decision.
So I apologize, we gotta wrap it up because people gotta go to work. Okay, I'm gonna give 30 seconds, please.
So the referendum failed, and it started out much larger than what we ended up asking for. I believe the original amount was around $8 million is what we had as a wish list. So it's not that things were added to it, it's that a lot of stuff was subtracted from it to get it down to the $3.5 million that we asked for. Now, that referendum failed, and she's right. 4 months after that, the city said, well, screw what the voters said. We're going to just go ahead and add a $40 wheel tax to raise some of the money anyway. I voted against that. I was one of 4 alders who voted against that wheel tax. And I think it was an immoral, completely wrong decision. There are other ways that this could have been handled. Pardon me for talking while you're interrupting. There are other things that could have been done, and we didn't do them. We just decided, let's go grab some more money from the voters, and let's hurt the most vulnerable voters first. And that's wrong. I thought that was absolutely wrong. Regressive taxes are always wrong. That's a principle that I believe. So I'll stop now, 'cause
Okay.
I'm sure that's more than
Yeah.
30 seconds.
So thank you, guys. I'm sorry. I know it's not a lot of time, and there might be more questions. The alder candidates and the mayoral candidates will stay and talk, I assume, if anybody else wants to come up and talk to them. All of their contact information is in our recent newsletter, will be in the next newsletter, and I'm sure they will be happy to speak with you about anything else that wasn't brought up today. We appreciate your time, and everybody have a good day. Thank you for offering to serve the city, everyone here on the panel.